Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all having a good day so far. My name is James. I am a UK shipping specialist within eBay. Today I'm going to be talking to you about eBay seller standards. I'm going to touch on customer service and how you can recover from a drop in your performance on the eBay platform. On eBay, we review accounts on the 20th of the month every month. This review is based on a look-back period of either 3 or 12 months, depending on your transactions within the previous 3 months. What that means is we will look at how many transactions you've had in the previous 3 months. If you have below 400 transactions, we will give you a look back of a 12 months on our seller standards. If you have more than 400 transactions in the previous 3 months, we'll look back on your performance over the 3-month period. This is a rolling view, so accounts can move between the 3 and the 12-month cycle depending on the number of transactions they've had in the look back period. Now, I know many businesses will sell across multiple different marketplaces, and how different marketplaces look at customer service may differ. It is really important to understand and get a baseline of what great customer service is, and to understand how we look at customer service on eBay so that you can drive your account forward and give the best possible service to your customers. When we review accounts, your account will be bracketed in one of 3 different areas. Below standard, this is sellers who are not meeting the minimum criteria we've set out on the platform. Above standard, this is sellers who are meeting the minimum criteria we've set out. And top rated seller, these are sellers who are meeting and exceeding that criteria that we've set out. Like the look back period, you can move between the different levels on a month-on-month basis. So looking at your performance now, you can look to move your account forward each month depending on the performance you're given. With being a top-rated seller, it means you are meeting the minimum expectations set out for you're exceeding the minimum expectations set out for your sellers. So with this, you get benefits. These can include final value fee reductions on item fees if you are meeting the criteria. You'll get improved best match visibility for your inventory and search. So your items will be showcased higher up in search as a top-rated seller, and qualifying cases will receive return labels and reductions in fees. So it is worth looking at your account to push your account towards that top-rated level to get those benefits. The way we look at accounts is we have different areas that we look at on a month-by-month basis to understand where your account is within that criteria for the look-back period. The first area we look at is your transaction defect rate. What we look at here is cases closed without seller resolution and cancelled transactions due to being out of stock. With cancelled transactions out of stock, this means that a buyer has made a purchase from yourself, but you haven't had the stock to fulfill that order for that buyer. The one reason why someone buys an item is because they want it. So if you have to cancel that transaction with them, it's going to be a bad experience for that buyer. They're going to have to go away again, look for that item. So that will drive a defect on your account. With unresolved cases, what this means is if a buyer has to open a case with yourself, so either a return or an item not received case, it's up to you as a seller to resolve that for your buyer. If you don't resolve that, the customer then has to ask eBay to step in and support them with that case. This again will lead to a defect being added to your account. We'll look at the number of defects that you get in the look back period, and we'll count that against the number of transactions you've had in that period, and that's where we'll get the defect percentage rate for your transaction defect rate. Next, we look at the shipment promise that you have on your listings, and we look at a late delivery rate. So what this basically means is when you list an item on eBay, you'll give a handling time that you're going to dispatch that item in, and you'll give a carrier that you're going to utilize. We will then give the buyer an estimated delivery date of when that item will be received. When we look at late shipping, we look at it in 2 different ways. So we look at late shipping when it comes to items that are sent with a tracked service and items that are sent without a tracked service. If you are using a tracked service, we'll be able to see when you upload the tracking on the site when your item is dispatched. If you've dispatched your item within the time frame you've set out, you're meeting the criteria that you've set out for your buyers, so that'll be all good. But if you are dispatching items late, you will get late delivery marks in your account. If you're not using a tracked service, buyers will be asked the question if did they get the item on time. If a buyer states they didn't get the item on time and we don't have visibility of a tracked service to see when the item was dispatched, this will lead to a late delivery mark on your account. So same as the transaction defect rate, we'll look at the number of late delivery marks against the number of transactions in the look back period, and that will give us a late delivery percentage for that look back period. The one thing I would say is if you are using a tracked service and a buyer states they didn't get the item on time, once we can see that you've dispatched that item on time, you will not be marked down for that late delivery. So you have to meet the expectation that you've set out in your listing to dispatch the item within the time frame you've set out. Once you are doing that and you're uploading your tracking, you won't get those late delivery marks. You'll be able to review your performance on the Seller Hub. So when you go into the main overview of the Seller Hub, you'll be able to see how your seller rating is performing, your current seller level, and if we evaluate you today. So if we look at the date it is today, so September, your current seller level is the evaluation that you went through on the 20th of August. So this is how your account is currently performing on the platform. If we evaluated you today, this is your trending evaluation. So this is what we're looking at for the next evaluation on the 20th of the month. Your current seller level, this is stuck to what it is as per the 20th of August. So you will not be able to change that. But if you evaluate you today, you can look to improve that by giving a better service. This is a fluid metric that will look back on performance for the previous 3 months. So if you are monitoring your account on a daily basis, you'll be able to see if there is any concerns or anything popping up there. So what we would say is to keep an eye on your seller dashboard to make sure that you're not going to see any concerns or any issues when it comes to the 20th of the month for the evaluation. You can also go into the main seller dashboard page where you can see your past level as well. So it can give you a 3-month look back on where your account is performing. So your past level, your current level, and if you were trending today. I just want to call out some of the metrics that we look at when it comes to seller standards. So for the transaction defect rate, we have a minimum threshold of 2%. If a seller is performing above 2% in the transaction defect rate, this means that you're performing within the below standard bucket for transaction defect rate. If you're between 2% and 0.5%, this is within the above standard bracket. So if you're evaluated there, that means your account is shown in above standard. If your transaction defect rate is below 0.5%, that is meeting and exceeding our top rated criteria for transaction defect rate. For cases closed without seller resolution, we have a 0.3% metric. If you are above 0.3%, your account will be performing in below standard. If you're below 0.3%, then you're meeting the top rated criteria. And then finally, we have late delivery rate. That is a 3% threshold. So again, if you're above 3%, this will be in the above standard threshold. If you're below 3%, you'll be meeting the criteria for eBay top rated. To be a top rated seller, you need to meet all the criteria for eBay top rated. If you don't meet all the criteria, your account will be bucketed in the lowest performing area for that cycle. You'll get to see a monthly breakdown on your seller dashboard. So this will show you on a month-on-month basis where you've got the defects and the number of transactions you've had in that month. So this is a really useful tool to look at to see how you're performing month on month, to see if there is any spikes within the different months that may be driving your account performance down. So for example, if you look at the summertime, you might see a seller who has a spike in late delivery rate. They can use this to see when those late delivery marks came in. This could result back to holiday period over the summertime where reduced staff in the warehouse has caused late deliveries for the account. With that trend, sellers can look at how they can make improvements going forward to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So again, monitoring the monthly breakdown, you'll be able to see where the defects are coming in what months, and you'll be able to use this to track back to see what trends are happening on the account and how you can make improvements. As I said previously, with being a top-rated seller, you do get benefits that come with being a top-rated seller. One of those benefits is listings shown as eBay Premium Service listings on the platform. What that means is if your listings meet the criteria for eBay Premium Service, the Premium Service badge will be showcased on your listing. This will drive trust with potential buyers to see that your account is a top-rated account and you're driving a premium service listing on the platform. Not only that, but if your listings are premium service, you will get a 10% final value fee reduction on any transactions with that premium service badge. So again, that's money in your pocket and more to invest in your business. For your listings to be premium service, there's a number of criteria you need to meet. So you need to have a 30-day or more returns time frame. You need to have a free shipping method with a 3-day delivery promise, a 2-day delivery promise shipping method that's no more than £10, and a tracked service for your items. Once your listings are meeting the criteria, the premium service badge will automatically be added to your listing. Another good thing about eBay Premium Service, it's not an all or none feature. So listings that meet the criteria will get the badge. If you have listings that don't meet the criteria, they won't get the badge, but you're still getting the benefits of all the listings that do. So now I just want to shift a bit and talk about customer service and retail. So to have a really good business, to drive your business forward, you want to be given the best customer service possible to your buyers. So thinking about what the buyer wants and how you can drive that in your business will help move your business forward. So consumers want to get a fast and a free delivery service for their inventory. They want to get the item as quick as they can, and they don't want to pay any additional costs to get the item shipped to them. So offering a free shipping service is key to help them convert items on your account. And not only that, but having that fast service, so a 3-day delivery service to get the item as quick as possible to your buyers is really beneficial to drive conversion. We've seen that sellers who offer a 3-day delivery promise can see about a 7% uplift in sales on their account. So it is really key to think about that delivery promise and push that forward for your buyers. As well as that, consumers want to be able to see the journey of their items. They want to be able to kind of track back their item to see when the item's coming. So if you offer a tracked service, again, it's driving trust for your buyers that they can look at that tracking and they can track the item from dispatch from your warehouse into their hands. Not only that, it can help reduce queries, concerns, contacts from your customers. They'll be able to look at that tracking information, so they won't need to kind of reach out to you or won't need to look at open cases. We have seen double-digit reduction in queries and disputes when buyers have offered a tracked service. Again, returns is a conversion factor. Buyers will look at the returns timeframe when they're making a purchase. So the longer you have in your returns, the more beneficial it is for that buyer to look at conversion. We'd all probably go out and buy Christmas presents or birthday presents long in advance. So if you have a longer returns timeframe, buyers will use that when they're thinking about the conversion piece, and that will come into play. As well as that, in the market now, there is a lot of competition for sellers. So if you give a buyer a bad experience, the likelihood is they're not going to come back to you. They'll go to one of your competitors. So customers who have had a bad experience won't come back to your business. So it is really important to make sure that you're driving the best customer service, not just for the transactions you're having with those customers, but for that repeat custom from those customers. So top performing companies are measured across multiple different customer service satisfaction metrics. How you handle complaints is one of the top metrics that is looked at, and this is what can drive your company ahead of the rest. So making sure that you can handle complaints correctly within your business to drive the best service for any buyers that do have issues will help move your business forward. Again, not just thinking about that complaint that will resolve that issue, it's thinking about how that resolution for that complaint can return that customer back to your business for future purchases. So thinking about working with the customers, listening to what the complaint is, what is the issue they're having, and working to resolve that as soon as possible so that they have a good experience with yourselves. The one thing I've seen over time is that people will just make assumptions of what the complaint is. They'll just hear something, they'll make an assumption and work off that. That can drive a complaint in the wrong direction, because if you're making the wrong assumption, then you could turn a small complaint into a bigger complaint. So it is about understanding what the actual issue is for the member or the buyer and looking to work with them to resolve that. You want to have a customer that's come in and had a complaint to walk away with a positive experience with your business, so that it will bring them back to your business, because they know if there is any issues in the future, they'll be able to come back and they know that your business can solve those issues they have. So as well as driving great customer service, thinking about your after-sales service promise as well with your customers. So making sure that you have a great after-sales service there to support your customers is really beneficial for your business. Again, we talk about that return custom. You want to make sure that every time someone has a transaction with you, that you're giving them the best service, the best after-sales service possible that will help bring them back to your business. You want customers to be coming back to you. You want to be that loyal business that customer is going to come back and repurchase from you in the future. Not only that, when you think about customers today, they're going to tell the story about the positive or the negative service they've received off businesses. So they'll tell family, they'll tell friends, acquaintances of the positive or the negative experience they have. That story can resonate with people and will make people think about your business, or not using your business, depending on the after sales service you've given. So it is really important to make sure that you're giving the best service across the board to all your customers, not only to bring them back to your business, but also to think about how their word of mouth, what they're telling to other people, is going to help drive additional business to your account. And nowadays, with the likes of social media, it's not just family, it's not just friends who get told the story. People put up social media posts about positive and negative stories they've had with businesses, and that will drive the mindset of people who are looking for like businesses. I know I've been out of school many years now at this stage, but people who I might have gone to school with a long time ago, if I see them putting up reviews about businesses, I haven't spoken to that person 10, 15 years, but that will resonate with me if I'm thinking of a like service, if I've read something about a positive or a negative service. So if you give the best service possible, you can have free marketing with that positive word of mouth that people are going to give, and will drive more business to your account. Hopefully you have been able to take away some of the information I've talked about today, but I just wanted to touch on a few key points that I was talking about. So as I said, we have a review on the 20th of every month. This review will place accounts in one of 3 customer service seller level performance pieces. Top rated is the top level that we want all our customers to be performing at. If you do get into that top rated bucket, you do get benefits for your account with final value fee reductions, with better search visibility on your account. Utilize your seller hub when you're managing your account. In there, you'll be able to understand how your account is performing. You'll be able to keep on top of your account to make sure that if there is any spikes, issues or concerns in your account, that you can address them ahead of time, so that there is no surprise when it comes around to the 20th of the month. Also, thinking about your customers, they are key. So offering the great customer service every time with every customer will help drive your business forward. It will help solve any issues for customers at the point of sale, and it will help bring customers back. So keeping that repeat customer for your business to drive your business forward. Now I'm going to hand over to Katie, who's going to talk you through some seller metrics and some other areas.
Thanks, James. Great, hello, good afternoon everybody, packed house. First of all, thanks so much for taking the time to come in and talk to us today. First of all, I'll do a quick intro. So I'm a senior UK commercial team leader. What does that actually mean? Commercial is the department and function that we have at eBay, that our core function and aim is to help sellers grow on site, right? eBay only succeeds when our sellers succeed. The reason why we've put this presentation together today is because we're heading into silly season that is peak. It's eBay's busiest time of the year, and it's hopefully going to be everyone's very busy time of year. But what James touched on and what I'll go through, this is your foundation. This is the core level of your business. Without it in smooth running operation, you're really going to struggle to scale. And I think when we listen to feedback, specifically even from sellers today, and we're having conversations, I think a big piece is that sellers don't understand, potentially until it's a little bit too late, is your service metrics. Often you may be familiar with your seller performance. This is the next tier down. Why is it important? So we as eBay benchmark sellers against each other so that we can help improve and drive buyer conversion, right? So that we maintain a healthy competitive marketplace so that everyone can have fair market share and get those sales in. But your service metrics, essentially, what are they? So we review sellers against their peers. What does that look like? It could be the seller sitting beside you, but we look at it on sellers who sell very similar items, so a similar price point. You're listing in the same category, you're using the same shipping services, but you're also having a very similar estimated delivery date, and that also includes international sales. Naturally, it's going to take a little bit longer for those sellers that are participating in cross-border trades. The reason why we benchmark sellers is to see what does good look like and what is the standard. So we will peer benchmark sellers based on their item not received rates and then their what we call SNADs rates, right? We love a good anagram at eBay. You're significantly not as described returns, all right? So if you hear me talking about SNADs, that's essentially what they are. You'll need to keep me honest on that eBay lingo, right? And why do we do this? It's to understand where is going right and wrong in a category of where items are selling. We understand that big and bulky, maybe more expensive items will be maybe have a longer estimated delivery date depending on where you're shipping the item and how you're getting it to the customer. But then we peer benchmark based on category, and we break it down from all the way from like your level 1, which could be fashion, all the way down into men's fashions, men's shoes, and we get really granular in the way that we score and peer benchmark. Sellers are also loosely benchmarked around a feedback score as well. So when we evaluate, we're not evaluating you next to somebody who sells a lot more or a lot less than you. Very similar to what James touched on, so on the 20th of every month is when we will evaluate where you're performing. So on the 20th, again, the 400 transaction mark is where we'll peer benchmark. Anything under 400 transactions, you'll be evaluated on a 12-month look back. Anything over 400 transactions, and you're moving into a 3-month look back. And again, where we look is very low, which is golden, but we know that sometimes things go wrong and there can be potential misses, and that's absolutely fine. Then it goes from very low, average, high, and then very high. When sellers are rated in the very high category, that's when we have some room for improvement and some opportunities to work on. There's benefits to being average and low, and then there's also like that there can be consequences for sellers that are benchmarked very high as well. This is what your dashboard is going to look like, and I'm hoping that everyone in the room is familiar with it, but if not, it's very easy to find. It's in your Seller Hub dashboard right underneath the Performance tab, which is also where you'll find your seller level drop down that James spoke about. You'll see a section called Service Metrics. So if you take anything away from today, it's to please go home and have a look at our service metrics and let us know if there's any way that we can help, right? So this is what your metric dashboard is going to look like. And again, while you have a drop down for eBay UK, for anybody participating in selling internationally, let's say you're selling on the Irish market, I hope you all do, my Dublin accent, but if you're selling into maybe France, Italy, Spain or anywhere else, you'll also have a drop down for that marketplace as well, so you can have a look where you're performing in that market too. Where you'll have the second drop down is your category. Some sellers may only sell in one category, but we know eBay is a marketplace for diversity, and some of you will sell in multiple different categories. So for clothing items that are probably easier to ship out, you might be performing really well, average or even low against your peers. There might be some opportunity with bigger items, and that's where you might be struggling in terms of a carrier. I'll touch on it later on, but we also have the eBay fulfillment services. For those of you in the room that are spending a lot of time on your logistics, a lot of time in the warehouse and there's room to improvement, we have a solution to help with. And it could be something that you'll look to invest in for next year, that we can take that time away from your business spent on logistics and you can repurpose it back into your business. But you can grab me later on if you need a shot in fulfillment. And this is what it looks like. So we'll do a breakdown of the number of returns, and we break it down for the reason code and where the buyer opened up that return. So if I look at this specific dashboard, I can see the highest rate of why this seller is having their return sent back, or a buyer opening up a return, is under doesn't match description or photos. So what's that telling me, right? Buyers are saying this doesn't match. Why does it not match? I'm able to export this, it'll show me all my returns. I'm able to then have a look and say, that item number is coming up a good bit. Potentially, is there room for improvement to add more photos onto that listing, improve the title? Does the price reflect essentially what the item is? Oftentimes we may list an item, it won't come with the accessories, or it doesn't come with a charger, or whatever that might be. Especially for those of you in the room that are selling pre-loved, refurbed, or better than new items as well. It's key that you guys are going in here to have a look at how you're performing against your peers as well. Another reason why this is important, right, as we head into peak, it's something that I'm hearing today. I spoke to a couple of sellers, is that, well, somebody else is cheaper. And there is going to be somebody cheaper. Only one person can be the cheapest on eBay, right? So if you're not succeeding on price, or you're not able to get that price drop down, where else are you succeeding? Are you offering a better returns? Do you have more items, more photos on your listing? Do you have the best titles? Are you able to do next day delivery, whereas competitors aren't? These are all things to be thinking of when you're evaluating the overall operations of your business. And you'll see it broken down here, so you'll be able to tab in and out on items not as described. Why are these returns coming back? How can we work to reduce them? Could be as simple as adding in frequently asked questions into your listings, right? Solving for the buyer pre-transaction so that you guys aren't getting more questions and admin work post-transaction or potentially a return. And then you'll also be evaluated on items not received as well. James talked about it. One call out from James is 83% of buyers expect to be notified of where their item is on its journey. We've heard the statement before, it's an internal eBay joke, but tracking is king. Buyers want to know when they're after paying for an item, where it is on its journey, where it's going to be delivered. More of us are returning back into offices now. We're not at home by the window waiting for items to be delivered. We want to know when they're going to get there. And tracking with our integrated systems is going to help inform that buyer as well. So what can we do to improve and increase the level of tracking and information we give to the buyers will ultimately make the transaction flow smoother. So following on from James, when we look at seller performance and service metrics, why are they important, right? So if we think pre-transaction, you're essentially trying to convert the buyer, they've clicked onto your listing, we want to get them through to checkout. It's ensuring that one, we're accurately describing our listings. More important for those of you that are selling items that are not new, are we accurately listing those lumps and bumps that come, especially mobile phones, very competitive category on eBay. In the grading, are we listing them accurately, or is there potential that what we believe is it's fine, just a lump or bump, for another buyer to say there's actually a couple of really deep indents there? Making sure we're listing, especially some of them imperfections on the item, does it come with, without a box, etc. Making sure your dispatch time is accurate. Also ensuring that the service that you're actually dispatching the item on is accurate as well. I think on eBay we have kind of catch-alls, other 24-hour and other 48-hour carrier, but it's important to accurately list what service you're sending that item from, because our integrated systems will be able to identify how's that carrier performing in terms of weather. I know thankfully it's not too sunny out there today, but how are carriers performing? We have all that information on site. We can update it and share it to your buyer. But with information you give us, you're tracking information and telling us what carrier you're using. Are you using Royal Mail? Are you using Every, etc.? By giving us that information, we can help improve the pre-transactional experience for the buyer, and they know when they're going to get that item, and they can make an educated decision on how to purchase as well. Responding promptly and politely to buyers' questions, right? Is there room for improvement to add those FAQs into listings so that we don't have somebody doing admin? What does that look like? You can also set up your policies as well, right? So they're automated, running in the background, takes the admin time off you. You can spend more time optimizing your listings or improving elsewhere on the business. So clearly stating your returns policy. And again, standard on eBay is a 30-day returns. If you're not able to beat a competitor on price, why are we not looking at using 60-day returns? Our information shows that if a buyer gets an item and there is a problem with an item and they need to open up a return, the majority will notify the seller within 7 days. So moving to 60-day returns, not for everyone, but I am going to pitch it because I see the opportunity of where it will get the listing in terms of search and where it's rated on site. Especially if you have a very good relationship with your suppliers and your manufacturers and you can offer that elongated returns window, especially for peak, absolutely do a trial run. Don't listen to me. Do a trial run for 7 days. See if your returns creep up, okay? But we know that buyers, as soon as they get a problem, imagine an item arrives to a buyer and it's damaged. They don't wait until day 59 to open up a return. They want a resolution now. So these are all the things you can have a look at and automating them as well within your business before the sale. And then when we have a look at after the sale. So item has gone through, how do we improve that experience for the buyer and ensure it, even though it started off as a positive transaction, remains a positive transaction and reduce that return rate. So responding quickly to buyers when they tell you that an item didn't arrive. Let's have a look. Oftentimes if tracking information isn't uploaded, but we know that delays happen as well, right? And a buyer contacting the courier, they probably won't be able to get enough information. They may need you to help and step in, right? So it's really giving that white glove service after the transaction to support your buyers as well. Shipping items, again, where you said you were going to ship them, so you've offered one working day dispatch, let's aim to get it out. Accurately reflect that as well, right? One thing that I don't have here, but it comes to mind now, is you have time away settings. I'm sure nearly everyone in the room would love to take some time off as we come in towards the end of the year. And it's very important for buyers to know when they message you, if they're expecting a response. Some businesses will operate Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, etc. Set an out of office message, right? If a buyer is going to message you, at least they have the expectation then that actually seller will come back to me then on Monday and I'll get an update then. You can automate your message preferences in your messages tab in settings. But also, if you do want to take time away, I think maybe holiday season is a little bit over, I don't want to break the news. But if you are going away on holidays, you do have your time away settings as well, which you can change your dispatch time, so you can put a hold on all your listings for sale if there's nobody there to help within the business. If there is, it puts a banner on your account to say this seller is away, expect a delayed response time. But it's all set there, automated, and we've improved that time away setting as well. So we will automatically update your estimated delivery times as well if you ask us to. If you're going on a week's holidays and you need to set that time, that's already in automation. Issuing refunds in a timely manner. When a buyer does return an item, they're part and parcel of selling online, and an item comes back, we as eBay ask that you issue a refund within 2 business days. What happens is if a buyer doesn't have that refund within 2 business days, they escalate to eBay and say, hey, that item got back to the seller last week, what's happening? I'd like a refund. And where they ask eBay to step in and we process that refund, as James discussed, it ends up on a defect on the account. But there's automation that you can set in place for your returns as well. So I've seen some larger businesses do it for, let's say, really low ASP items, anything under £5. To pay for the return postage, to get them back, probably not going to resell, they have an auto refund option set for anything under £5, because it's not worth the admin time, come back into the warehouse, potentially leaving themselves open if they can't get that refund in. But it's what works for your business, okay? So understanding whether it's your returns timeline, carrier using, or how you're investing in your business and where you have your staff allocated or your own time, each individual business will be different. So understanding how eBay is evaluating and looking after the peer benchmarks, what can we do to have a look at improving? And these are questions that you'll take away from today and have a think about as we head into peak. So investing in more staff, that's having a look at where your current staff base is, and are you making the biggest return on where that staff is based in your business? Do you have extra out in the warehouse potentially and you need more in customer service? What does that look like? We actually have a range of integration partners here today that if you guys are looking to scale up your business and automate or remove some of that from your own operation, whether that's eBay's fulfillment services, we have messaging integration partners that can look after some of the CS, and we also have listing management tools as well, so an inventory management system that'll help you, especially if you're selling across multiple different e-commerce sites. Are you managing your stock there? If an item sells out here, how is it being updated on eBay, right? So ensuring that the stock you have on eBay is accurately listed, so that when a buyer buys an item, you get to successfully fulfill that transaction. And these are questions to have a think about as you look to scale going into next year. Understanding your current operations and logistics, are they working for you, right? Do you have the staff in the right place? Do you have the right tools to be able to do so? Are you using eBay's automation, right? And setting your returns policies and any automation maybe on lower value goods, right? Taking that time back into your business to reinvest somewhere else. I'd always recommend more time on listing optimization, but that's another story. And then reporting fraudulent buyer behaviour to eBay. We've made massive changes and leaps and bounds in this from days like today, and hearing how these are challenges for you as sellers. When you report a buyer and make eBay aware that maybe that transaction has not gone well or there's a buyer acting untowardly, we need to be made aware of that so we can in turn action that. What does it look like when you report a buyer in terms of your seller performance? We will remove, if a buyer is found to be acting untowardly on site, we don't want that, and we're here to protect our sellers as well. Means we can automatically remove any neutral or negative feedback related to that transaction, but we also remove the impacted service metric. And then the fun bit that happens in the back end is we have a look at what's going on with the buyer account then, right? And if they're the type of buyer that we want to stay on site. But when you guys are reporting, that does come through into a system and gets worked by a team. So this is something we heard loud and clear last year. We've made massive investments into our tool, our site experience, and how we handle those reports as well. So when we look at service metrics, you won't be evaluated if there's a cancelled transaction. We also protect for anything like postage outages, anything like adverse weather, right? So thankfully it's okay out there, but maybe coming into Q4 we'll see more adverse weather. We partner with our carriers to understand what's happening, and this is by postal code, right? We don't look at the UK as a whole. We'll say there's an outage here, train strike here, etc., to be able to protect and make sure that you're only evaluated and peer benchmarked on what's happening within your business. So you're not going to be evaluated on anything that was outside of your control, i.e. postal strikes. And then a big one, so when James was discussing where you're evaluated in terms of your transactions, we look at a percentage of your transaction counts. Really quick and easy win is either enable like multi-buy on some of those items that you can sell multiples of, or running a promotion on lower value goods. It's getting your transaction count up so that then some of them dings or late delivery defects, for example, are not having as big of an impact on your account. And again, yeah, multi-buy is a great tool to enable that and get more of a basket size up, which ultimately saves you guys on postage as well, right? If you're selling really small items, it's going to cost the same to post out 3 as it is 1. Why is this important? So following on from what James talked about, in terms of your service metrics as well, your search. Who does not want to be top of search? I think I can understand everyone in the room wants to be up there, battling for top placement. When you are rated lower than your peers or you're operating around average, we give increased visibility in terms of search. When you guys are giving our buyers and your buyers a really good service on site, we promote that. We say when people buy from this seller, they're having a good experience. They're going through, they're repeat footfall, they're buying again. We want to promote that and get them sellers up in search so more buyers can have that experience. Also, on the flip of that, where we see that you guys are going to be rated in the terms of high or very high, we'll understand and say, well, why? What's going wrong there? Other peers selling these similar items are able to have a smoother experience, and you're going to drop in terms of your placements in terms of search. Also, reducing cost into your business, right? I think we can all say that the admin side is probably the least fun side, and we want you guys to be educated and aware so that you can reduce that admin time and put that even return postage cost investment back somewhere else into your business. I know the ads team are here today. They'd love to hear you invested in ads. But even if you're putting those man hours and time into listing optimization, you're going to see your listing impressions increase and therefore your conversion rate as well. Again, having a look at where your staff are based and what that looks like, you're going to drive repeat customers. And then also when James spoke to us about the premium service, you get a lovely shiny badge on your listings to show buyers, this is a trusted seller. You're able to give this continued experience to buyers. You're getting items there when you said you were going to get it there. And it's a real conversion factor for buyers as well to look at that and say, okay, this is working. Let's go ahead and click through on this listing. And again, the reason why we're ever evolving and changing the way that we peer benchmark is because we're trying to stay in line and remain competitive with buyer expectations and ultimately make sure that you guys are getting enough market share and sales. When we go and speak to UK buyers, what do they want across all e-commerce platforms? They want to find an item quickly. So again, how does the eBay search work in terms of your listing optimization? Are buyers able to find your items easy, understand what they are as well? Your fast and free delivery. Flexible delivery options. Are we offering click and collect for buyers maybe who work unusual hours or they're not going to be at home? I think there's an expectation more people are returning back to office. Does that look like the global shipping program? Are you looking into other markets? An easy way to dip your toe in is global shipping. But you can also have a look at active cross-border trade as well, enabling the buyer to pick and choose when they want their item. If anybody is very late for me and buying like birthdays and Christmas presents, I need a next day delivery. So are we offering that in terms of our competitors as well? To be kept informed. We heard what James said, 83% of UK buyers are expecting to be updated on the transaction, on where that item is progressing through the delivery network. We need to know when we're going to get those items to be prepared, especially if it's a big and bulky item and we need to be at home. And again, to share their views with others. We see it all the time. Everyone here leaves reviews. Anybody who's going and booking a holiday, you go and have a look at some of the review sites as well. Buyers, especially the higher ASP, the higher range of items, They want to know what experience other buyers are having, and they listen to each other as well, especially on a community like eBay. They want to know what that transaction was like and how can you guys improve on what that looks like for your business as well. So that brings us to the end. There is a survey box here for anyone who wants to participate, but I think one key takeaway that I'd love for everyone to take home is please have a look at your seller performance. How are you performing? How are you trending? What's your projected rate and what does that look like? We're here to help. When you guys want to understand or make changes within your business, we're here to help. So yeah.